So I Feel Pretty, which is written and directed by Abby Kahn and Mark Silverstein, starring Amy Schumer, who is, Renee, she works in the IT department of a sort of a high-end fashion makeup line. She dreams of working in their uptown office, in their glamorous offices, but that's never going to happen to her. And one of the reasons it appears it's never going to happen to her is that she has low self-esteem as a result of kind of cultural body shaming into believing that she is not the kind of person who could be, one of those fantastically successful, attractive people that she sees all the time in the fashion industry and about whom she is sort of weirdly besotted. So she suffers from this very low esteem directly as a result of the culture around her and the fact that she's in the middle of the fashion industry. Meanwhile, the very same company is starting a new bargain brand aimed at people who shop at Target, people who aren't their sort of, their traditional high-end customers. And they're kind of embarrassed about this. And one of the reasons they're embarrassed about it is that Michelle Williams, who is now sort of running the company, although she's still very much under the thumb of her grandmother, is terrified that actually what's going to happen is that they don't know the marketplace. They don't know any of these people because they've all been sort of Saks Fifth Avenue the whole of their life. None of them know exactly what they're going to do. So on the one hand, you have the company who are looking to connect with real people. On the other hand, you have the Amy Schumer character who is desperate to go and work in this area, but she can't do because she has very, very low self-esteem. Then she goes to the gym where there's some stuff going on with the gym, but everybody else is kind of, doing the cycling, and she falls off the bike, she bangs her head. When she comes to, having banged her head, it's as if something magical has happened. She's completely transformed into the perfect imagined version of herself, the version of herself that she has in her mind, this kind of size zero person that she has always longed to be. Of course, actually, nothing physical has happened. She has just changed in her head. She's changed the way she thinks about herself. But as a result of changing that, suddenly she becomes confident. Suddenly she becomes, outgoing. And the next thing, she finds herself having an interview for the role of secretary in the company to which she aspires. Here's a clip.
Renee, we appreciate you taking the initiative, but you're not exactly the obvious choice for this job.
Helen?
No, I totally get it. Because I already work for the company, and this job would actually be a pay cut to my current salary. It doesn't make much sense why I'm here.
So what are your goals exactly?
To work here. As a receptionist.
Wow. Okay, because most girls, they view this as a stepping stone to modeling or to opening their own e-commerce boutique.
I hear you. And yes, modeling is an option for me. You are taking a risk. Is this girl going to walk out of this office and right onto the runway and never look back? Is that realistic for me? 1,000%. But it's not who I am.
So,
listening to that, you don't get the gag at all, really. But when you see Amy Schumer delivering it, it's just,
yeah,
it does work.
The thing is that the film takes its kind of wish fulfillment lead from Big, and Big is very specifically evoked more than one point. That whole thing about, in Big, there's the young boy who dreams of being, grown up, and then he goes to the fairground thing and he gets a ticket. The next thing he wakes up and he's Tom Hanks. And then the rest of the movie plays out with him actually as the grown up, and yet he's still internally the young kid. And Big is flagged up, more than once in the film. And this is an interesting idea. Firstly, I think that the central thesis that body shaming is pernicious and widespread, and it's what the central message of the film is. It's not how you look that matters; it's how you feel. And I think all those things are, things that I think are admirable about it. The problem is that firstly, the movie struggles to find the comic tension that it needs to allow Amy Schumer to do the stuff that she does. I mean, she can be very, very funny, but there isn't as much comic potential here as you would think there is. I mean, there's an awful lot of it in which it becomes about her self-obsession and it's just not, I mean, Big had a sense of magic to it. It was, magical in its comedy. It was also magical in the sort of the way in which it was talking about, be careful what you wish for and all that sort of stuff. And I kind of felt that was very lacking here. The second thing is that there's a weird thing going on in the film, which is this. You're told at the beginning that Amy Schumer's character, she has all these issues with the way she looks, and she's, desperate to be a sort of size zero. But the thing about it is that, actually, Amy Schumer looks fabulous. I mean, she just does look fabulous. And the the central message of the film is it's all to do with the way that you feel, and you understand that's fine. But when that's the case, you wonder, why are we getting into this kind of strange and sort of rather clunky conceit about she believes that she's seeing something else in the mirror? Why can't we just have written the narrative that is to do with the kind of, the sort of central belief thing, which is a funny idea. So despite the fact that I think that there is an underlying idea which is interesting and has some ideas that should work and should feel uplifting and should feel empowering, the film itself ends up feeling pretty empty. And the more it went on, the more I thought it's just not hitting the mark. And why isn't it hitting the mark? And I think there are certain structural problems with it, which it never quite gets around. I think the script isn't anything like as sharp as it needs to be. I think that Amy Schumer isn't given the best material to work with. And although I think she is really funny, she's not anything like as funny as she needs to be. And you come out of it thinking, yeah, it just missed the mark. And I didn't laugh as much as I should have done. I didn't feel when the sort of the key plot points happen. I mean, actually, you end up laughing at stuff like there's a joke about Michelle Williams and her voice, in which she does this thing about, I've got this ridiculous voice and nobody takes me seriously because of this ridiculous voice. And she says, I've done everything, elocution really. Yeah. And that's the stuff that works funny. And it's really odd because in the case of Big, that conceit, the magical conceit, is really works with the film. And in the case of this, it just never reconciles its elements, and it ends up feeling like something that would have worked maybe as a short, but overstretches itself and doesn't give its players the best opportunity to shine, because just narratively it doesn't have depth. It ends up oddly feeling very shallow, which was a surprise, and I didn't laugh so much through it.